Let's talk about the final stage of awakening when you become the field. We aren't human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. The body's been listening long before the mind learned to speak. And within that silence lies a truth most people never notice. Every emotion you feel, every thought that crosses your mind, every quiet whisper of belief is not confined inside you. It travels as a frequency, an invisible sound that your DNA hears. You don't have to try to communicate with it, it's automatic because your body already knows that it does it on its own, on your behalf. DNA is not a silent strand of biology that's trapped inside the nucleus of your cells. It's a living instrument of perception, a field of light that constantly receives and transmits information between you and everything else. When you feel joy, the molecules in your body expand into coherence. When you feel fear, they contract into survival. Each emotion becomes a code that instructs the body on how to shape reality. The universe does not respond to your words, it responds to the energetic tone in your DNA. Scientists once thought that DNA was like a frozen script written by ancestors. But modern quantum biology has begun to show that this code is fluid, it's intelligent, responsive to consciousness, thought, thought coupled with emotion. There was a Russian biologist once that called DNA a light transmitter. Others discovered that strands of DNA emit faint pulses known as biophotons, rhythmic flashes of light that mirror emotional states. When a person is calm, the light flows in a smooth transition. When anxious, it flickers chaotically, as if the inner music has lost its tempo. You're not just surrounded by light, you're built from it. And your DNA sings the light into form every second. Most people move through life completely unaware that their internal dialogue has biological consequences. The mind complains and the heart tightens. The breath shortens. And this cascade of tension is alarming to the body. The electromagnetic signature of your DNA, it's the listener. It records it. Every vibration that you emit, it is adjusting the geometry of its spiral according to what you repeatedly most often are saying. In the moments of peace, the spiral loosens, the code breathes. In moments of fear, it constricts, protecting, but also limiting you. What you call emotion is not only a psychological reaction, it's a field instruction. Every time you fall into despair, your DNA receives that pattern and begins to broadcast it outward, creating experiences that echo the same frequency. The field does not punish, it mirrors. The reflection may come as people, events, or coincidences, but all of them are translations of the information your body has been sending. Imagine standing in front of a mirror made of energy and realizing that your energy and your every heartbeat shapes what the mirror shows. This is how reality functions at the quantum level. The signature of your DNA interacts with the larger quantum field, and the field organizes matter according to resonance. Two frequencies that match always find each other because coherence is the law of the universe. So when you maintain the vibration of gratitude, opportunities are aligned with your gratitude and they appear. When you hold to constraining circumstances that validate fear, that'll emerge. The bridge between the invisible and the visible is not luck or destiny. It's biology, communicating with consciousness. There is an intelligence inside that's so much older, one that listens without judgment. It listens to the music of your cells, to the rhythm of your breathing, to the spaces between your words. That listener is your DNA, and it never sleeps. It constantly measures the frequency of your state of being and tunes your physical reality accordingly. And you can see why meditation, silence, and emotional awareness have a great effect on people and why they're so important. They're not just spiritual metaphors, they're tools to stabilize the signal that you send. When the mind becomes still, when the heart expands, the noise disappears. And the original frequency of your being emerges. The ancient mystics called it light. The modern physics call it coherence. But both are describing the same event, a human returning to alignment with the quantum field. In that state, DNA begins to vibrate as it did in its purest form. The photons around it pulse rhythmically. The electromagnetic field of the heart synchronizes with the brain. Brain heart coherence. And a communication line opens between you and the field of creation. And this is not mysticism, this is instruction. Everything that exists vibrates. Every vibration carries information. DNA is the translator between those two worlds. When you speak harshly to yourself, Your DNA records that command as distortion. When you speak with love, it records clarity. This is why self love is so important. You're writing genetic music with every emotion. Over time, these emotional patterns create the lens through which you see life. People think awakening is about learning something new, but often it's about remembering how to feel. When you allow yourself to feel fully without resistance, you send a pure signal. The field can then respond without interference. Every cell in your body begins to recalibrate because the instructions it receives are coherent. The spiral of life, the sacred geometry of DNA, turns in rhythm with the greater cosmos. You are no longer a fragment trying to survive. You are part of the conversation, of the universe. The listener within you and the field around you are one. And the more that you trust this, the more you practice this type of communication, the more effortless manifestation becomes. Because it is no longer a technique, but a biology fulfilling its purpose. Look at your life right now and notice the echoes of your past frequencies. Every relationship, every opportunity, every challenge carries the imprint of the energy that you once sent. The purpose of awareness is not to judge those signals, but to understand. Once you realize that your DNA has always been listening, you begin to choose your tone more carefully. The lesson is not always to be a better picker of relationships, but truly to have self love. You choose peace, not as a moral idea, but as a biological necessity. You choose love because it creates coherence in the field. You choose silence because in silence, the language of light becomes audible. The truth is simple and infinite. The universe is not out there, it's in here. The strands of light that shape your being, listening, translating, responding, your DNA is the antenna and the bridge, the silent witness of every frequency you become. And the more consciously you live, the clearer your song becomes. Until one day you realize that the music you were trying to hear has always been the sound of your own light. Light is not just what you see, it's what you're made of. Every cell in your body, memory of light. And deep inside each cell, your DNA pulses with that same silent rhythm that governs it. Scientists once thought biophotons were a myth, faint traces of random light, just flickering from living tissue. But the truth is so much more mysterious and miraculous. Those flashes are messages. They are the very way that your cells communicate. How the body maintains coherence, how consciousness whispers into matter. There was a scientist named Fritz Albert, and when he first detected this subtle radiation, he actually called it the language of light. He discovered that healthy cells emitted steady, harmonious light, while stressed or diseased cells flickered as if their inner rhythm had been broken, disrupted. That difference was not just biology, it was vibration. You are a symphony of light, constantly interacting with the world around you. And your DNA is the conductor of the invisible orchestra. Every thought sends a vibration that shifts the tone of this light. Gratitude smooths the frequencies, creating waves that synchronize the entire system. Fear disrupts them, scattering photons into confusion. Love aligns, while anger fragments. It is as if emotion itself paints the internal cosmos in patterns of illumination or chaos. The quality of that light defines the clarity of your connection to the quantum field. When your internal light is scattered, the signal you transmit to the field becomes noisy. When it is coherent, reality mirrors you instantly because the field always follows order. The universe seeks resonance, not chaos. That's why people who live in deep coherence seem to draw synchronicities in effortlessly. Their internal light is aligned with the cosmic current. And so events flow toward them in perfect timing. You may have felt moments like that when everything moves with you instead of against you, when thoughts manifest in seconds, when you sense that life is really listening. The light within you is communicating with clarity. You have become a transmitter that is in harmony with creation. The secret is that this is not rare, it's natural. And you are meant to live that way. Your DNA was designed to interact with the quantum field as effortlessly as breathing. But generations of stress, fear, conditioning have clouded the signal. The body forgot the rhythm of the light and began to operate in survival mode, reacting instead of creating. But that forgetting, it did not erase your potential. It only dimmed it. The language of light still exists inside of you, waiting for you to remember how to speak it and sing it again. To speak it and sing it, you must not think thoughts belong to the realm of logic. Light responds to frequency, and frequency is created by emotion. It reminds me again of that beautiful quote of Einstein, that the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The logical mind, its faithful servant. Yet we have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. When you truly feel gratitude, every photon inside of you aligns to that vibration. It's measurable, tangible, and profoundly biological. Your electromagnetic field expands. The brain and heart synchronize. The DNA helix literally changes its tension. The pattern of emitted light becomes smooth and radiant. This is what mystics call your aura, and what scientists call the biofield. And it's what the universe calls coherence. It's not imagination, it's resonance. The more often you reach that state, the more your DNA learns a new rhythm. You've heard people say, this person walks to the beat of their own drum. Eventually, it stays in that rhythm, even if life feels uncertain. You become a stable signal in a shifting world. And stability is magnetic. The field around you begins to organize itself according to your tone. Circumstances rearrange. People show up, timing aligns, because the outer world cannot resist coherent energy. It's the path of least resistance. Everything in existence seeks order, even lightning. And when you become order, you become the point around which reality organizes. That is the very essence of creation and being a creator. You do not force the field. You tune to it. Your DNA then translates this frequency of light into form, instructing yourselves to behave in ways that support the vibration you are holding. The body heals, the mind clears, intuition sharpens, and coincidence becomes communication. It's all one continuum of light, remembering itself through you. Think of every photon inside of you as a note in an infinite melody. The universe plays through you, and you can either let that music flow or distort it with resistance. Resistance happens when emotion is suppressed, when light is held back, when you pretend to be calm while your inner current trembles. The light does not lie, it vibrates exactly as you truly feel. That is why authenticity is power in the quantum field. Pretending creates interference. Honesty restores coherence. The moment you admit to that fear, breathe through it with awareness and stabilize your light. You can convert or transmute the chaos into order simply by facing yourself. That is how evolution happens inside the body. DNA is not waiting for the next generation to mutate. It's responding now, adapting to the consciousness that you embody. The more light you allow through emotion, the faster that evolution occurs. Each coherent feeling rewrites a portion of your genetic music, unlocking codes of intuition, resilience, and sensitivity, once thought to belong only to saints or geniuses. They are not gifts, they're frequencies that your DNA understands. And you are the one who decides how loudly it hears it. In the stillness of meditation, the biophotons within you become more organized. The frequency of your heart synchronizes with the brain, forming what scientists call heart-brain coherence. In that moment, the body becomes a single instrument, not a collection of separate parts. The energy field expands meters beyond the skin, connecting directly with the quantum fabric that holds reality together. Every intention released from that state carries real power because it rides on the current of ordered light. This is why ancient practices focused on breath and awareness. They are methods to restore the purity of your internal light so that creation can flow through without distortion. The more you practice coherence, the more natural it feels until you realize that peace is not the result of control, but of resonance. Your DNA, your thoughts, your emotions, and the light of the cosmos are all playing the same role. In that harmony, fear loses meaning. It cannot exist where light is synchronized. You begin to sense that the language of light never stops speaking. It speaks through the warmth in your chest when you forgive, through the tingling in your skin when you align with truth, through the tears that appear without sadness when you touch something that's real. Those are the signals of DNA decoding energy into awareness. The body is translating light into feeling and consciousness into form. To live this way is not to escape humanity, but to fulfill it. Every pulse of light within yourself is part of the same song sung by the stars. You are not separate from the cosmos. You're a continuation of its frequency. When you walk under the night sky, remember that the light above you is the same light inside of you, folded into a spiral, listening, translating, responding. The more aware you become of that dialogue, the more luminous your life becomes. Coherence is not something to achieve. It's simply what happens when you stop interfering with natural light. You do not need to chase awakening. You only need to stop scattering your photons. Don't let them go in 1,000 different directions of fear and doubt and worry and lack. Gather them through the breath, through stillness, through presence, and let them move as one simple stream of music. Your DNA will hear it immediately. It will shift its rhythm, open its structure, and the light within you will flow freely again. That is the moment when biology turns into luminosity, when science meets spirit. Remember that the true language of life is light, and you were born very fluent in it. Reality does not answer to words, it answers to vibration. Every signal you send out becomes magnetic. Like magnetic thread woven into the quantum field. And the field never ignores what it receives. It mirrors it. The reflection is not always immediate, but it is always precise. That's true karma. Every feeling, every silent thought, every pulse of emotion that travels through your body, it's recorded as a frequency. And the universe responds to that frequency with mathematical precision. What you call coincidence or synchronicity is the unfolding around you of this field listening. When fear becomes your constant tone, DNA transmits that pattern just like a radio frequency. The molecules in your body transition, preparing for threat. And that tension emits a specific electromagnetic signature. The field reads it as a command and sends back the experience that matches that vibration of danger. That is why people who live in chronic worry often attract circumstances that confirm their fears. It's not punishment, it's coherence. The field must remain consistent with the signal that it receives. And the opposite is also true when your state of being radiates trust. The same field reorganizes matter to support that. DNA expands cellular light, increases the heart, generates a strong harmonic field. And life rearranges itself to mirror that coherence. Reality does not happen to you, it happens through you. Translated by the electromagnetic dialogue between your DNA and the quantum field. This interaction is constant, even when you are not aware of it. Every moment is a translation or a transmission. Each emotion, a frequency code. And the body is the transmitter. This is why awareness is not a philosophy. It's a technology. When you become aware of what you are feeling, you regain access to the control panel of creation. Awareness allows you to adjust the signal before it becomes a physical event. You begin to realize that every external situation is a feedback loop of your internal vibration. The people that frustrate you, the delays that test your patience, the opportunities that appear out of nowhere are all mirrors. If you respond with resistance, the signal distorts and repeats until it is understood. When you respond with acceptance, the pattern resolves, the lesson completes, and the frequency evolves. This process is the architecture of the soul. It has no morality, only reflection. The field mirrors your dominant state, not your occasional wish. A moment of positive thinking cannot override hours of emotional contradiction. DNA listens to the overall tone of the accumulated transmission that defines your baseline frequency. You may speak about abundance while your heart vibrates in fear of loss. And the field will respond to the fear, not to the words. That's why inner coherence is more powerful than any affirmation. The universe speaks in energy, not language. It hears what your DNA emits, not what your lips declare. The mind may lie, but the body never does. It tells the truth through every heartbeat, every breath, every subtle change in your thoughts. When those rhythms are out of harmony, the electromagnetic field around you becomes fragmented, and then so does your experience. But when they synchronize, the field regains order, and order attracts order. You can feel it when this happens. Life suddenly feels smoother. People treat you differently. The same world seems to operate by different rules. Nothing external has changed. Only your signal has. You've entered the coherence. And in that coherence, DNA no longer hides behind survival codes. It begins to unlock sequences that were laying dormant within you, potentials that respond to higher frequencies, not abstract ideas. They are literally measurable biological changes. Your immune system strengthens, your brain waves stabilize, your intuition heightens, because all systems of the body are following the same vibration. You could say all systems are a go. You are becoming an orchestra that has found its tempo. Again, the difference between harmony and chaos is the quality of your signal. This is why the simplest acts carry so much power. A slow breath, a moment of gratitude, a thought of kindness. They recalibrate the electromagnetic rhythm. Your DNA translates into light. The field detects the change instantly. It begins to realign. All probabilities around you are now going to fit the new vibration. What you once called miracles are simply results of consistent coherence. When coherence becomes the norm, manifestation ceases to be an effort. Because you are no longer asking the universe for anything. You are radiating out that which makes you happier. And so the inevitable is that the field will not resist this. and alignment will flow. Now,
Well, this is something that within you needs to change. Sometimes we do need an affirmation or a little bit of help. So I want you to pause this video for a moment and get a piece of paper and a pen so that you can write down my intent mantra. I'll wait. My mind is calm. I am connected to spirit. Spirit flows through me. I release all anger, grief, and guilt. I will take time to think and to listen to myself and my guides. I will remain calm and centered, even through chaos. I will let spirit flow through and guide me. I will project positive energy to the universe and receive its gifts in turn. I will increase my powers of healing and perception, and I will use these powers to benefit myself and others. I will open myself to love and prosperity, and I invite them in to my life. My mind is calm. I am connected to spirit. Spirit flows through me. Use that as often as you need to until you can retrain your thoughts. And love thyself. Know thyself.